I stopped wearing my wedding ring to family events the day my wife told her sister it was just paperwork. Her dad noticed first. So some context. We've been married 4 years. No kids. Things have been fine, mostly except for this thing my wife does where she kind of minimizes us when she's around her family. Like she doesn't hold my hand, doesn't really include me in conversations, answers for me constantly without asking what I actually think. I noticed it early on, but figured it was just how she is around them. Awkward. Trying too hard. Whatever. Then about 6 weeks ago, her sister Becca is getting divorced and she's over at our place and the two of them are talking in the kitchen. I was in the living room. I wasn't trying to listen, but our apartment isn't big and I could hear everything. Becca's going on about how she feels like a failure, like their whole marriage was a waste, and my wife goes, "A divorce is just paperwork. Marriage is just paperwork. It's the relationship underneath that actually matters." Which fine. In a vacuum, maybe that's some kind of philosophical take. But then Becca says, "Is that how you feel about yours?" And my wife goes, "Honestly, yeah. The ring, the certificate, it's all just symbolic stuff. Me and Jake are solid, but it's not because of any of that." I just sat there staring at the wall. I didn't bring it up that night. I didn't bring it up the next morning. I kept waiting for it to stop feeling the way it felt, and it just didn't. We've had conversations before, a lot of them, about how she never really brings me into things with her family, never defends me when her mom makes little comments, acts like we're roommates with a shared last name when we're at Sunday dinners. And every time she says I'm overthinking it, says her family isn't affectionate, says I want too much, and maybe I do. But I heard what I heard. So 2 weeks after that, her parents' anniversary dinner, nice restaurant, whole family. Her dad, Frank, is this observant, old-school guy, the type who notices when the tablecloth is a different color than last year. We get there and we're hugging people hello, and he grabs my hand to shake it and looks down at it for a second. Doesn't say anything. We sit down. Dinner goes fine. My wife is laughing with Becca, talking across the table to her mom, doing that thing where I might as well be a prop. Around the time the entrees come out, Frank leans over to me, not loud, just between us, and says, "You not wearing your ring anymore?" I said, "No, I'm not." He looked at me for a second. "Everything okay with you two?" I said, "Ask her." He didn't say anything after that. He just nodded and went back to his steak, and I watched him look at my wife across the table in a way that was different from how he'd been looking at her all night, like he was recalculating something. My wife noticed about 20 minutes later. We were in the car on the way home, and she goes, "Were you wearing your ring tonight?" I said, "No." "Why not?" I said, "I didn't feel like it." She looked at me for a while. Then she goes, "Did something happen? You've been weird." I said, "You told Becca our marriage was just paperwork." She went quiet. "Then that wasn't about you." I was trying to make her feel better about her divorce. I said, "You told her the ring is just symbolic stuff. You said we're solid, but it's not because of the marriage." "Jake, I've been telling you for 2 years that I feel like a secret when we're with your family, and I finally understand why, because in your head, we kind of are. The real relationship is something you keep separate." She said that wasn't true. I said, "Your dad noticed my ring before you did." She didn't have anything to say to that. We drove the rest of the way home in silence. It's been 3 weeks. She's asked me twice to put the ring back on. Both times I told her I would when I believed it meant the same thing to both of us. She called me childish. I told her her dad still texts me more than she talks to me at family dinners.